For the record, Commissioner Perdola and Ms. West are not present today. All of the board members are here, and we do have a quorum. Item number 2, approval of minutes from the October the 6th, 2022 meeting. They were short, shouldn't have took too long to read them.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes.
Have a motion by Commissioner Fowle. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Keegan. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain since I wasn't here.
Got one abstention by Mr. Hernup he wasn't present at that meeting. All opposed? None. Motion carries. And today is the 3rd. Item number 3, non-standard plats variances. A, State Highway 123 North, 3619 Fulmer. Discuss and take action.
Yes, I'm Charlotte Macon, and I'm the realtor representing Mr. Fulmer today. And basically, he had an 11-acre tract with quite a bit of highway frontage. He's splitting 6 acres out off of there to the north side of his residence, so he can have just 5 acres in the house to maintain. TxDOT has given a driveway okay to come in the middle for safety purposes, because there's a lot of hills and such out there, and there is Sunco water and GBC electric available.
And there's not, this is raw land, the 6 acres is
Yes.
raw?
Yeah.
Okay. Any comments, concerns, questions?
How about the, serves the water?
The what? The water, that's
It's
Sunco?
Sunco, yes.
Yeah, Sunco, she said Sunco's already approved it.
Yes.
And GBC and
And,
TxDOT.
yeah, and electric.
Yes.
Okay, and electric approved.
Yeah.
How about the highway department? They approved
That,
it?
yes, they're gonna have to,
It'll have
they
its
haven't
own
changed,
access.
but they have approved a driveway at a specific location.
Yes.
Which he's already done that.
Yeah. Is it a shared driveway, so to speak?
It is not.
It's not, okay.
No,
They just picked where it would be.
that's right.
Yeah.
So all the requirements have been met then.
Mhm.
The reason, I'll make a motion to approve the variance.
I have a motion by Commissioner Fowle. Do I
I'll
have
second it.
have a second by Mr. Herman. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries.
Thank you, that was easy. Glad to see you. Thanks.
You gonna tell her?
It'll go to court on the 14th.
Right.
I'll send you a PDF copy of the signed version, and you'll be able to pick up a filed copy later that week.
Yeah, CC me on it, and we'll keep it with him too. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Item number 4, future mailbox placement on county roads, discussion and take action.
I brought this up,
Okay.
had this put on the agenda because in my precinct, we had TxDOT is making them move the mailboxes, which is no problem, put them on the county road. One of the issues that I do have, apparently, I guess this is the postal specs from the postal service. And my concern, the county road versus the highway, if you look at what the specs says, it says it can't be no more than 3 feet off of the edge of the hard surface. Well, and some of our county roads ain't wide enough, they're gonna be blocking traffic, is what I have a concern.
You're talking about the postal carrier
Or
or
the person picking up the mail,
Yeah.
you know? And then if you look at it, it says 6 to 8 inches from the vehicle to the face of the mailbox. That's pretty close. And like I say, where this particular road is, County Road, 406. It's not very wide.
Yeah, it's narrow.
And the other thing is they put 4x4 square tubing in concrete. And they're gonna put these 5 or 6 mailboxes.
So it's gonna be a cluster.
And my question is the
Mailbox.
county liable if someone hits those? I mean, being in the county right of way, you know, they're not breakable, they're 4x4 in concrete posts. It could do some damage, is what,
I'm still reading this. Are you telling me that, the postal service is installing these things?
no, the landowner, the person, the homeowner.
And basically because they're being told to do so by
Yes.
memorandum.
You know, on the state right of way, they have breakaways or, you know, these, if someone hits one of these,
Yeah, move it.
they're not moving.
We do it for damage
Yes.
and for your purpose.
Well, we have the same problem in subdivisions with our monuments to the postal service that are made out of
But
rock.
it's not an open road either, you know?
No, it's not as open. They treat it like an open road, but it's
Yes.
not, yeah.
And but, like this postal carrier, when he sits there, he's gonna be blocking traffic, basically. And, cause some of the county roads aren't wide enough, you know?
Well, that and 321, that's another one that's narrow, but, that subdivision's gonna have to have a cluster or mailbox too.
I guess what I was wanting to know is, can we put some sort of regulations, or can we, you know, say they gotta be a certain place, or a certain, off the road, or is it, do we have to go with the postal service once?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you, and Ellen, pipe up if you have any other, thoughts on this as well. Number one, I want to look into it a little further, but these are gonna be, if I understand your concern correctly, you're talking about, smaller county roads that are more narrow, where they don't have as much room to place this, so it might be kind of close to the edge of the highway where someone could hit it if they got off of the road.
Correct. That's one
That
concern.
is one concern. Now, they're probably not traveling at a higher rate of speed on these smaller roads.
Shouldn't be.
Shouldn't
Would
be.
that be a reasonable conclusion that a person could draw?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know the answer to it, if we could stop the US Post, well, this isn't the US Postal Service, this is, number one, this is a recommendation from the Postal Service to their postal customers.
You know, is this y'all's,
It's not a recommendation, well, it's a recommendation, but because the post office doesn't want to do anything, basically. The post office wants TxDOT and the county to take care of it, but it's the postal service that's supposed to make sure that everyone is delivered mail.
Of course.
So.
Are you from the Postal Service, ma'am?
No.
No, but the Floresville post office.
She's the 911
Tammy's our
coordinator here.
911
I'm so sorry.
Tammy's been the one that's been working with the USPS, working with TxDOT, kind of trying to figure out what the plan is, and she's been involved with it, so I asked her to step
I
in.
always talk to you on the phone.
So the post office is saying that, right now they're telling me that if they don't get cluster boxes or something put on county roads that they don't want to drive down, they are going to make the people get PO boxes.
That's what they prefer.
So,
Well, and years ago, just a little history, years ago, we had battle with the postal service over them not wanting clusters in their subdivision. At this date and time, they all want them now. And, which is a good idea. Takes them off the highway, puts them in the subdivision with a improved surface. They can pull over, park, and go get their mail out of the cluster.
Yeah, but that's not gonna be applicable on a non-subdivision areas. I mean, potentially they could put them
Well-
in one area, then they have to drive down to get their mail.
From my dealings with the postal service, it will be if they say that's what they're gonna, what the people gotta do, you know?
I hear a different question. I mean, my question is a little bit different than this. My question is not 100% concerned with what the Postal Service could do or would do or the authority they have. It's what is our rules about people putting stuff in these right of ways?
we don't have anything right now. I know.
Well, it's our right of way.
Right.
Utility companies are able to do it. They're able to utilize those right of ways as well. People can put signs there too, as long as it's what, 15 feet? Is that? It's, I think it's
On
15.
right away? No.
If you see all these election signs, they gotta be like 15 feet from a roadway, a state highway.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's county right away. I understand your concern. Your question about liability, I think, is probably narrow. Very, very, very slim that we would be liable for something like this. But I do want to know if we need to kind of weigh in on this so that we don't have homeowners improperly installing these things because they don't understand these directions. That would be my concern. But I'm not as concerned about liability, Commissioner.
Okay. That's what I was just,
Yeah. What do you think, ma'am? I mean, have you heard anything you could add to that?
Jason, do you have anything to add?
No,
He's
I
with
mean,
TxDOT.
Okay.
you know, I would think y'all could, it's your right of way, it's county right of way, you can do with it as you see. There may not hurt to put some guidelines out there, put a standard out there, so everybody is does it the same way as TxDOT does. Our standard states that we're going to have a mailbox 8 foot at a minimum off of the edge of the traveling surface for safety. So if you could put a standard out there like that, that would just get everybody uniform out there.
If I understand this very vague letter, it looks to me like there is I don't have my glasses. That is 5.
You don't want cheaters?
No, I don't. I don't. That looks like to me 6 to 8 inches from the roadway.
yeah, look at the big one, you see the big one.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then 41 to 45
Yeah.
inches from the actual mailbox. Oh, thank y'all.
High.
Oh, that's high?
Yeah, because I had to lower my mailbox because it was too
Well,
high.
I don't,
The height I don't have a problem with, but when you look at
It's how
6
close it is
inches
to the road.
from the edge of the road, that's pretty close.
That's really close.
Well, I think this is referring more where, excuse me, where you have a curb. In other words,
Well, this is what they gave them to install on that kind of road.
that,
Yeah.
you think about it, that's where a curb would be, and they don't want it more than 8 inches away from,
And it says no more than 3 feet off the hard top of the road in postal delivery order. Well, maybe I need to talk to Mr. Williams. I know Mr. Williams from the post office.
I don't know if this is their spec that they have,
Just
TxDOT,
ask him where he came up with these numbers.
yeah.
TxDOT specs is a minimum of 8 foot off the traveling edge.
Because they're saying this is a notification due to a new memo posted by TxDOT.
That's what that
Something that
was,
relates to state highways.
well, they won't let them put the mailbox, TxDOT, which I understand.
The clusters,
No,
Yes,
they
as
won't.
of July 25th, they came down from Austin that we would no longer be installing mailboxes on state maintained roadways if you have a county road address. The reason we've done that is for the safety of the public checking their mailbox, also the safety of the postal office delivering the mail.
it's also confusing whenever you have a county road address, but your mailbox is on the state highway.
Yes.
It gets very confusing about finding that place.
Well, that I see a little bit of a different rationale for the rule then, because your state highways are typically higher speed thoroughfares than our county roads. Your initial question was liability. I don't see that as being a big issue. I don't. What are your other concerns that we can raise with the post office bunch?
I mean, that close, just,
That 3 foot, yeah.
yeah, or that 6 inches from the edge of from the face of the mailbox, the way I read it, to the vehicle,
Okay.
Some of our right of ways, 8 foot wouldn't work either. We'd be in private property, we ain't got no bar ditch, but.
No, and some of those you have ditches too,
Yeah.
where they can't put it down in the ditch.
Yes.
It's not going to achieve the purpose of having it near the roadway.
But I think if just like doing a culvert pipe, they need to come and they have to come get a permit from y'all or like on the state, where y'all install them on the state right away.
Yeah, so the way we work it is the property owner comes in for a driveway permit. At that time, we issue the driveway permit that does have the mailbox approach turnout in that design, so it will all be done. Trying to get into the protocol now that they install the driveway with that mailbox turnout. Once it's all been done, meets our specs, we go out and install the mailbox per our
And those, I'm not saying we install them, but they need to maybe get with the county to see where to put it or how to put it.
Well, Commissioner, if I understand this letter correctly, and I've read it 3 times now, this is in reference to county road, state road intersections where there's a county road near it, and they're just kind of making the suggestion to these people to put their mailboxes over on the county road side.
They had to.
Yes, this is not for just open county roads anywhere in it, because that's what I understand.
No, they're making them move them in
Okay,
other locations.
Any box that has a county road address that currently is being serviced off of the state highway,
Mhm.
when it does get damaged due to an accident, or, the post office will not service it because of the shape of the mailbox, it is upon that landowner to move it onto the county road.
Okay, and I understand that. I also understand another phenomenon for most folks who live in the country. And that is that periodically throughout the years, their mailbox will get hit or knocked down or defaced by youngsters, if they still do that. So that, I mean, having to, maintain your post box is not new to our residents. I don't know if I'm hearing anything that they're suggesting here that's anything too out of the ordinary, sir.
Well, can we make them put it further off the road is, I guess, where I'm asking.
Well, I'll speak to Mr. Williams about it.
Well, the next thing is we need to be able to enforce them putting it off the road.
Yeah.
Because you go up in some of our older subdivisions and they got those rock pillars.
That's another thing, yeah.
And they are right on the edge of the road.
I don't know about the enforcement authority that you're asking about.
Yeah, well, I know we can't do anything about those, but can we stop it from future?
Who's going to enforce all
Well, you
this?
got a driveway inspector that has to do the driveways.
I was about to bring up, we're working on the driveway regs since we got an inspector hired. If this is something, it applies to the county right away, the driveways apply to the county right away. If this could be included in those regulations that were.
Okay, no, and just, we gotta come up with a neutral number that applies, I guess, to this scenario.
If they were 3 foot off, I'd be tickled to death.
No more than 3 feet off, and I think 3 feet, at least 3
Well,
feet.
no more than even that.
Because the one that that this reference to is 2 feet off.
Okay.
We went and measured it. From
And
the
then-
edge of
And that causes,
Edge of the road.
the edge of the road to the mailbox. Post
Yeah.
is 2 foot.
And I don't think
I
what
think
you
you guys'
got,
mailbox is sticking out this much from the post and everything.
Well, this isn't anything that we're running afoul of post office regulations or anything like that. I think that, yes, probably the county does have the ability to say that these have to be installed a certain, distance from the roadway, the travel roadway. You gotta come up with whatever that distance is. What would the committee suggest for that?
I'd say a minimum of 3 feet.
Yeah.
And that's from the edge of the mailbox, not from the post.
And that would need to be codified in our
Subdivision regulations.
subdivision regulations.
Well, wait a minute.
But they don't
Not for
apply.
county roads.
They don't apply.
County roads, yeah.
county roads.
Well, we need to put it in our subdivision regs because it needs to be there too.
Well, what about the subdivisions now?
There exists.
You can't do anything about
Lots
it.
of all.
But
It's
like
grandfathered.
Tech Dot's doing, if one gets damaged and has to be replaced, they'll need to bring it up to that day's standard
Yeah.
for regs.
When you put that, just from, experience, I would recommend if you're doing some standards or guidelines, to also put in there that the property owners would be responsible for the mailbox
Right.
turnout and the maintenance of that. Because that's going to become an issue where who does maintain it when it gets rutted out and that. Moving it off 3 foot is great, but some spots you're going to have rutting in that. Make sure that you put it in there that it's landowners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a
That was
piece of
gonna be my
personal
next topic
property.
of
It's never
discussion.
our responsibility. That mailbox is not ours. It doesn't belong to us. It doesn't belong to the federal government. It belongs to the homeowner that wants to get their mail. We would never be responsible for that. We can over-regulate this if we're not careful.
But like Paul was bringing up, can we also, all the future mailboxes that are installed on the county roads, require them to have breakaway standards? That's a safety issue there.
Nick, we're gonna have to research a lot of these issues. This is a bigger problem.
Highway Department's doing it.
Yes, everything that is on, due to the speed and the amount of traffic that we got, anything installed on the state right away does have to meet our crash worthiness and go through the testing.
Yeah, you drive around, there's a few pipes that are cemented into the ground. If you hit that thing, you're not moving.
You know,
No.
So,
Okay, well, we'd have to get back to you on that one. Gentlemen, I guess you could, but again, who's gonna enforce all this? What is the level of enforcement this is gonna require? The level of inspection and enforcement? There's a lot of questions that y'all hit me cold with this morning, me and Evan both.
Well, the one that's gonna complain is the post office, because it's too hard to be putting the mail in, it's too far off, has to get off the truck.
they
And
drive
also-
right up to the box.
And so if the box sometimes is too far back, because it's more than the 3 feet,
Yeah, they'll still
start
make a little-
complaining.
The,
They'll make a little-
Yeah, that's where the homeowner has to do some type of improved service, because they gotta get their mail too, so.
Yeah.
But, so we got two issues we're dealing with as far as, regulations. One would be put it for county roads in the county road non-subdivision.
Right.
Would be put it in the driveway regulations, and when Commissioners Court adopts the driveway regulations, that would make it, enforceable to the extent that a driveway is.
I was thinking in the driveway regulations.
And then if we're gonna do something in the subdivisions, we need to put something in the subdivision regulations about mailboxes.
most of
Well,
them
you
use
can
the
reference
cluster
back to the
location.
driveway.
Or
Subdivision.
reference it back, but it has to be in there.
All the
Yes, that
subdivisions
part.
have the clusters right now.
No, they do now, but they didn't.
Yeah,
And I don't know what the postal service view is on when Whispering Oaks has, you got a mailbox out there and somebody runs over it and damages it. Does Whispering Oaks are they gonna make those people start going to clusters? Or are they gonna let them build another monument out there bigger and tougher because that one got destroyed? Now, I don't know of a lot of them that have been destroyed because they are made of cement or, rock. And they look pretty.
I don't know that one, but I think the driveway permitting regulations is where we would address this, because those are county applicable countywide, correct?
Do you have some, Mr. King?
I do, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So, like right now, you drive down the subdivisions, you see how post office goes in, a lot of the road gets tore up on our paved side.
Yeah.
Obviously, homeowners going in, roads are getting tore up on the paved side. Who's gonna pave that road? Is that gonna be back on the commissioner? Or is that gonna go into the driveway inspector, or the homeowner at that point for the driveway side? Because we're moving further off the road, so your county roads are the same thing, right? So
The edges are what gets destroyed on all our county roads.
That's why I'm asking the question.
basically, like, what he's talking about in the subdivision is one particular, where they'll start at the beginning of the subdivision and the postal service, and they'll drive off the edge of the paved road, put the mail in the first box and just drive like that all the way down the road. They won't get back on the pavement to the next mailbox. They'll just straddle that. And so what they're doing over time is eating up the edge of the road and part of the bar ditch or whatever, and then you got a drop off, and you got where the asphalt starts eating out into the road, coming out. And so they're calling us to go fix the edge of the bar ditch, which we didn't cause it, the postal service caused it.
Well, that's the homeowner. It's just like a pop.
But they do the whole
Yeah.
length of the
No,
road,
I've seen them do that, yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, that he just raised the issues that I was trying to think about, and I'm still formulating thoughts on. That whatever action you take is going to have an effect somewhere else. And then farther back, the more they're departing from the roadway, they could tear up the edges. The closer to, then they're not off the roadway, but they are in traffic. Maybe the solution could be some type of reasonable accommodation for the distance, 3 feet, or 3 to 4, whatever, and the breakaway requirements that something, yeah, that these mailboxes, they can't make a tank out there.
I guess the only problem I have with the breakaways, where does that homeowner go to buy that? You know, TxDOT supplies them when they put them up on the state right away.
Everything y'all mentioned
You know.
to me this morning just makes me have more questions.
I mean, you know, we don't supply it, so where would that homeowner go buy that breakaway? you know?
Home Depot maybe?
I don't know where they buy it, you know?
Yeah, there's vendors out there, but they mainly sell to your big.
Governmental agencies,
They're
yes.
not one of, they don't deal in the public.
You know, that would be probably an issue now.
Well, if we got them off the road, you know, a safe distance, that should help in the, you know,
Sure.
the safety issue.
I'm just concerned when it's this close to the road.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you on that.
And I don't know about all the postal service, but I know Floresville, they've gone to these little,
Yeah.
they don't have the truck, people don't have their own pickup no more, they're not in a rural area, they go into these little.
I know in vans.
Yeah.
Little vans
The
now.
Stockdale, they're running out of vans, yeah.
Well,
I think they're delivering packages now more than they were before.
But they're not, years ago, they were driving a four-wheel drive pickup
Yeah.
or whatever it was.
Jeep, whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's another big issue.
Well, I think that the driveway permitting regulations and the driveway stuff is where this would be contained. I'm not sure that the postal service would be the biggest culprit of causing road damage either. I mean, they're traveling at a slower rate of speed. They're going from this point to that point to that point to that point. If you've ever watched one of those vans, you look at it, they got everything stacked in there, so they're not driving. It's not the Cannonball Run to get your mail, and it is the mail service, remember. So they're not in a hurry. It's the people coming to get their mail every day.
Well, that and water, it's just like a pothole, you get water in it, when you drive through it, you splash part of the pothole out.
Yeah,
And then it does
Gets
it again and
bigger,
again, and it
bigger.
just gets, yeah.
I've heard of that.
When it rains, it washes out in front of the mailbox.
Rain.
When it rains.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what I think is maybe we can kind of discuss this with Mr. Williams and you know, Ms. Hodan can talk to y'all some more about it next month. And we can discuss the issues we would like to look into was, do we have the authority to require a private property homeowner to install a certain type of mailbox? Because that's a question I don't know the answer to. And also, where would it be the best placed in our regulations so it's enforceable countywide? I think we kind of agree that subdivision, permitting and driveway stuff would be the place. And also, can we set a certain distance from the roadway that this thing has to be? And I'll speak to Mr. Williams about it. And Ms. Fiodan will brief you guys next month, if that's okay.
Sounds good. Any other questions, concerns, comments on the mailboxes? All right, we're gonna move on to item number 5. Set date for next workshop to review, discuss, and recommend possible revisions to Wilson County subdivision and development rules and regulations.
So we've been working on the subdivision updates. It was something Leanne was working on before she retired, and I've been finishing it out. It's to that point where we need to review it with the committee. It's time to bring it to the committee. There is a lot.
Okay, so in the past, how we've done this
Yeah.
is we've come up with a date other than today, you know, the first Thursday, to where we would try to meet for 2 to 4 hours to discuss it. And if we have to have future meetings, we would go and set another date at that time. So what are y'all's thoughts on it?
We're gonna set a different date than our first Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, because we used to try to do it on this day and we'd end up going till noon and you know, it have to come back anyway another day.
This, for your position, yours, county commissioners, what is the best day of the week to do it on?
Well, mine, it said it you know, 2 weeks to a month from now. Because,
Shoot for 2 weeks.
yeah, we can shoot for 2 weeks.
We do it on a Thursday, on the
We
second,
can do a Wednesday,
third,
whatever.
Thursday. of the-
Thursday's fine.
Yeah, Thursday's fine with me too.
That seems to be a day that
So
That's
the
Thanksgiving.
17th is the next Thursday, is 2 weeks from today. 17th of November.
17th?
Mhm.
That works for me.
Saturday, we'll go from there.
You want to just shoot for 9 on the 17th and start it?
Yes.
Okay.
So
We can get the ball rolling and then, you know, we can make decisions after that on when we're gonna do our next one. Need to get with Commissioner Perdola and Maureen.
Yes,
Let
I'll
them know.
confirm with them.
You know, I would see this as a possible, if you can't be here, we'll try to, get the packets out to you
Yes.
and you could call in or email. Well, I'd rather you call in or be here to discuss concerns or something that you want to look at, because I don't want to leave it up to us to try to figure out what you're talking about.
And what I actually want to do is get it all together with the changes, and get it to y'all beforehand, so you get a chance to look at it, you're not just coming in blind.
Is there a way you can highlight the changes so we know?
Yes, I'm getting it all laid out and making sure it's clear, because what I've been looking at, I've gotten familiar with it, but when I first looked at it, when Leanne turned it over to me, it was a lot. So I'm getting it laid out so it's easy to follow what the changes were, and I'll get it to you at least by that Monday before the 17th, if that works.
So we'll do November the 17th, 2 weeks from now at 9 o'clock here, and start the process. It is a slow process, so we try not to get frustrated.
I would
in it.
account for the, definitely more towards the 4 hours than the 2.
Well, we may not get it done in one day.
Yeah, at least for that first
Yeah.
day.
We may have to turn around and do another one in December, or, you know, a couple of weeks after that. Well, a couple of weeks after that is December, December
Yeah.
the 1st.
and
So,
maybe,
and that would be the first Thursday,
well,
so.
two, if you do it why we stick with either the second or third Thursday of the month to review. In other words, it's kind of,
Yeah, we might have we might be able to get it down to short enough to where we can wrap it up at the,
On the first
at
Thursday.
the first Thursday, but then again, we'll have to wait and see where we get on the 17th. And that gives us time to make decisions about where we want to go from there. The third Thursday in December is the 15th. So that doesn't get too awfully deep into the Christmas part of it, so we might be able to go with the 15th, and then the January meeting, that might be able to do, finalize it and take it to Commissioner's Court whenever it's time. Because everything we do here is pending Commissioner Court approval. Any other questions? Then item number 6, we're adjourned.
You might have Tom look at that.